All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Canada Hoops. It's your boy Matty. Thank you for your continued support. Please keep downloading and sharing us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Our guest today represents Toronto. I'm just going to do that again. Sorry.
All good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Canada Hoops. It's your boy Matty. Thank you for your continued support. Please keep downloading and sharing us. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Our guest today represents Toronto, Ontario. He is a former Wasatch Tiger, Cal State Fullerton Titan, Ottawa Blackjack, and just finished his season with the Santa Cruz Warriors. And of course, he has repped for Canada basketball on the senior men's national team. Make some noise for Jackson Rowe. Jackson, thanks so much for joining us on Canada Hoops, man.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, been looking forward to this. You had a good year in Santa Cruz, and kind of really elevated your game, I think. And we got to see you with the senior men's national team in February in the FIBA America Cup qualifiers. So we enjoyed that. How are things, man? Let our listeners and your fans and the Canada basketball community know how you're doing and just kind of where you're at right now, man.
Things are good. Had a pretty good season over there in the G League. Hoping it leads to something more. But yeah, it's been fun just hooping, just enjoying the game, being around certain people, getting to meet certain people, especially in the Team Canada environment. That's always nice. Get to see
Right.
your friends that you've been playing with for a very long time. But everything's good. Glad to be back in the city. And yeah, man.
What like I know you in my opinion, just following you and you finished the season really strong. You had a real good month in February, just with the year there, and I don't know if there was close to maybe some call ups or whatnot, but just talk about if you had goals kind of going into the year. Did you feel like you met some goals, and overall you would look at it as a successful season in Santa Cruz?
Yeah. Honestly, that season turned out better than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Um, I obviously didn't get any call ups, but pretty close. And the good thing was I did get some feedback where I'm able to work on my game. And if I can provide those things that they want, I put myself in even a better position to get some type of call up. So from that aspect, it was really nice. I did meet some goals I wanted. I shot the ball pretty well. I try to keep it close to 40% just because, especially with the Warriors, you got to be able to shoot the rock, not
For
alone just
sure.
in the NBA, but just for the Warriors. So, I was able to do that, develop my game, become more of a perimeter player. But the main thing was that, it was a good experience. It was so fun. My wife was happy. We had just gotten married and she wanted to be closer to home. So we were
Nice.
able to stay close to home and had a good season. So I'm kind of just going with the flow, man. And it's working out for me.
That's cool to hear, man. And obviously, a lot of us know happy wife, happy life. So, uh, that's important. That's important. No, man, like, if people are listening, um, and haven't really seen your season, like it was a good year there for you. And I think the Canada
Yeah.
basketball people and community are obviously happy for you. And, hopefully that next opportunity, comes where maybe you get a shot or a call up. And, so does that lead into some time with them this summer with summer league?
Right. Yeah. So they did offer me a chance to play in Summer League. And
Nice.
I'm going to try to take advantage as best as possible. Continue to work on, what they want me to work on, which is, guarding the ball a little better, getting my shot off a little quicker and things I can control and feel like I'm pretty close.
Love it. You mentioned you're back home in the city, back home in Toronto, man. Try to take me back a little bit when you're a younger kid running around the city, and just what was like growing up there for you, and how the game started to take shape and really come into your life.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in Toronto, Jane and Finch Hospital before they took it or changed it. And I've been here for until high school, really. Um, I went to high school at Crawford Academy, went to Metro Prep, and then I took it overseas, or sorry, took it to the States where I went to
Right.
Wasatch Academy. And It was such a big part of my development growing up, being around certain people. I'm sure you've heard the name Phil Dixon.
For sure.
He's Canadian legend. Coach Bob Mado. I'm sure
Okay.
you've heard that name too here and there. But yeah, those guys who helped shape my basketball love. My mother is a big part of it. She used to coach my team at BJCC, the Jewish Basketball Community Center.
Okay.
That's where I used to play when I first started out. My mom was the coach with Coach Ari Mazer, and those two really, has a big impact on why I love basketball so much.
What at that time you're getting exposed to the game and loving it, and obviously even across Canada, like most people I think know who Phil is, just an icon. I'm sure
Yeah.
you looked up to him. Was there other people you kind of really idolized and admired in terms of their game? Like who were you seeing at that time? You're like, man, their game is nice. I like their stuff.
I mean, Jamal Magloire he was with the Raptors when I was
Right.
growing up. So it's always nice to see like a Canadian in the NBA, because then you think, oh shoot, that could be me. So shout out to him. And yeah, I think that really, like him, Phil Dixon, Bob Madu. There's a player, Justin Jackson. He's from the Yates program.
Right.
He was like, man, he was that guy growing up. Andrew Wiggins, another big name growing up, who played similar position as me. So it was nice to see those guys as motivation.
Nice. So I'm like, you must know Andrew a little bit, kind of connecting with them like through the Warriors at all, or
I didn't see him as much when I was at the Warriors,
okay,
just because their schedule's a little different. But when we were younger, I think he tried out for the BJCC team, and then he ended up leaving. But I've played with basketball with Andrew from when I was like super young. He probably doesn't remember, but who
right,
whoever does when you make it to the NBA.
right. No, that's cool, man. And you know what? Shout out Big Cat. Jamal kind of gets maybe lost and not shown enough love in the history of the game in this country. I always say that. Uh, uh,
Absolutely.
a big fan of his, and he's still doing so much in the community there, which is super great to see. And we're big fans of his. Just tell me about the move to Utah, man, and Mount Pleasant to go to Wasatch there, and just that adjustment and just making that decision to do that. It must have been sort of a tough call at the time, maybe for you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, you're 16, and you got to go explore the world at some point. I thought it was a cool experience. It was nice to get away out of the city, just because it's good to spread your wings and try to learn something new from somebody else. I feel like Phil really helped me out. Coach Mado really helped me out, and it was time to keep moving forward and find the next adventure, which was ended up being Utah. And I'm so glad that I went out there. Thank God that opportunity came knocking. I really appreciate the Wasatch Academy for taking me on. Coach Gino Morgan, rest in peace, was my coach who recruited me there, and I'm so glad that I got that opportunity.
Was that like a decision also trying to maybe boost exposure and recruitment? Like was that a big part of it? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little easier to get scholarship offers when you're in their back door, in the back door of the states, for D1.
Right.
And it's a little more difficult when you're trying to get it from Canada. It's probably a little easier now, but back then it was a little bit more difficult. So I'm glad I made that decision.
And then just talk about that recruitment, man. Like you're playing in Utah and getting exposure. Just what did that look like for you? Who started offering and talking to you, and just take me through that process and why you made the decision you did, man.
Yeah, so Wasatch was actually recruiting Canadians heavily. Shout out Shamil Stevenson, Josip Vrankic, Kobe McEwen, Cody John, all those guys who all played at Wasatch with me at that time. It was an amazing experience, but they also came out to Wasatch, and we were like dominating. We played in the Dix National Tournament
Right.
against I don't know, one of the top teams, but Oak Hill. I think it was Oak Hill. We played against Montverde when Ben Simmons was there. Like it was just so much exposure, and teams really got to see us play. Like colleges really got to see our potential, and I'm pretty sure all of us ended up going to D1 colleges, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of those guys, even Jeff Bradsey, we all ended up going to D1 colleges.
Nice. So you went to Cal State Fullerton. Just talk about, that decision and, um, why you made that choice. I don't know if you kind of maybe did you narrow it down to a couple schools? Like, just take me through your decision, man.
Yeah, I mean, I had an offer from Temple, which is a
Okay.
bigger school. My mindset was, would I rather go to a big school and kind of get pushed to the side for my first few years and kind of work on my development, or go to a smaller, like a mid or low major school, and have an impact immediately and be able to be one of the guys. And I really felt like that decision was better. It ended up working out, thankfully. Could have gone bad, but yeah, they recruited me. Cal State Fullerton, head coach Dedrick Taylor, my guys, Danny Sprinkle, who just got a head coaching job at Washington, John Smith, who was just at Cal Poly as the head coach. Like we had a lot of good coaches at Cal State Fullerton.
Right.
Anthony Santos, who are ending up getting better jobs now, like they're head coaches now. So it was such a good move. I didn't know it was going to be such a good move when I made it, but it ended up working out like most things, just going with the flow. And yeah.
Well, I know I was just kind of looking at your stuff from your time as a Titan. You were all Big West second team and all Big West honorable mention. Big West Conference Freshman of the Year. Like you obviously, had an impact and had success there.
Mhm.
So I guess we could probably say it was a definitely a good move. Just tell me about that time there, man. You're hooping and you're a college student. Typically it's kind of like maybe the best time in someone's life, and just
You know
tell me
that.
about your memories being a Titan, man.
Yeah. College, any 4-year school is going to be an experience I suggest that everybody should go through. It's just the bonds that you make and the experiences that you go through is definitely worth it. Um, it was such a fun experience, to be honest. Like we made it to March Madness. We got to play against Purdue when Carson Edwards was there. Um, and like just the people I met there, like we're so cool. Like some of them are coming out to Toronto this summer. So like
Cool.
long lasting relationships that, it was worth the trip to California.
What you know recently with guests coming on with their NCAA experience, what's your take on the situation now with the portal? And we got NIL as a factor. Like,
Uh,
just give me some thoughts on that, man, because it's really changed the landscape a lot. Both on the men's and women's side. It's almost. I mean, I guess maybe in a sense it was always a business, but now it's like it's a
mm,
true business. Maybe just give me some thoughts on just the state of you know the basketball landscape in Div One right now, man.
honestly, like it would have been nice to make a little extra money in
For
college.
sure,
We were
for
getting a
sure.
little stipend. It's always nice to make a little extra money, knowing how much money the NCAA is making off of us. And that's like an ongoing debate about that. But the main thing is like you want the passion in the game. You want guys who are fighting not because they're getting paid, but because they love the game and they're trying to get to the next level, not for the money, but for the hunger. And you want to keep that. And like the portal, I feel like it might influence that a bit, where you're like, well, if I have good numbers here, then I'll be able to go into the portal at the end of the season. And it kind of changes the perspective a little bit, maybe for some players. But at the same time, guys are working their butts off in college. Like that's
Right.
probably the hardest part in terms of development, where you make the biggest changes in college. So, and some guys deserve to get paid for that. So I'm not against it. It would have been nice. Maybe they give us some reparations and I might change my mind.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and I think now like we just had the end of the March Madness tournament, and you're just throughout the tournament, teams that aren't involved, like guys are hitting a portal like daily,
Mhm.
and it's just trying to maybe improve their situation and maybe aren't sticking out a situation that they could try to gut through or whatever. And uh, it's beneficial. I support it in terms of having that student athlete, benefit off their likeness. I mean, why not, right? And
Mhm.
it's an interesting time, man. We'll see if they sort of maybe try to regulate it a bit more in some sense.
No.
But yeah, I just always love to kind of get everyone's thoughts.
Yeah, for sure.
What you wrap up as a Titan and you're starting a pro journey. Take
Mhm.
me through that. What that started to look like and options and leagues and what were you considering as you make that jump, man?
I think my first jump, which was playing in France, was probably the. It honestly felt like I got hit by a truck because of how different everything was from college to pro.
Right,
Um, it was just it was insane, and I had gotten injured, which doesn't help your situation when you're overseas. But just to be able to be exposed to that, like this is the real world. If you're hurt, you're getting cut. They're not sticking around to see if you get better or whatever. You play or you don't play. That's really all. Play or go home. And it's a business. There's a business side of it. Um, it can be fun. The fans over there are crazy, but I'm talking about overseas, obviously.
right,
But
right.
yeah, it's an experience. I think every hooper, all my overseas hoopers know how it is over there. Like it's very business-like. You learn a lot about yourself as a person, and you learn about the people around you, who's checking in on you, who really cares about you, and it's a big learning experience for every hooper who plays overseas know what I'm talking about.
What about the stop in Sweden, man? I'm curious about that, just in terms of like Sweden's not known necessarily as a basketball country, and
Yeah.
I know you had some success there, and it put you on to your next stop. But just talk about your time there, on and off the floor, and just what was that like?
Sweden honestly was my favorite place to play overseas just because like it was just fun. The atmosphere was fun. Like we were winning, obviously that helps. We won the championship out there. Always feels
Right.
good. But yeah, that experience in Sweden was just amazing. The people were outstanding. The coach and facilities were outstanding. And, it was a really good, like, very big on brotherhood over there.
Cool. And then in Germany with Medi Beirut too, and
Yeah.
a good stop. Were you there with Khalif Young as well? Same time?
Yeah, I was there with Khalif Young.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, he's joined us. And obviously, man, like um, you come back and you've played in the CEBL,
Mhm.
which has been a great league so far. Like lots of our guests have had stops and time in there. I got to ask you about that. It's such a great situation for guys to come back and play at home in the
Mhm.
summer, make a little extra money, keep the game going. Just talk about the CEBL as a whole, Jackson, what you like about it, and just where it's truly on the rise. It seems to get better and better every summer, man. Just give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it's a blessing to play in the CBL. I loved it. I mean, I'm playing this summer, so I'm looking
Right.
forward to that. But like it's just such a great place for exposure, which is what Canada basketball needs is always exposure never hurts. Um, but yeah, it's on the rise. I'm hoping we could get CBL maybe year round. I don't know what you think about that, but it would be
That's
nice to have
interesting.
yeah a
Yeah.
year round Canadian league. I'm
Right.
sure you could get the competition and the talent because it's right next to the states. So, but yeah, I have to talk to the GM or the owner of the CBL about that.
Yeah. I wonder if they've considered that. I mean, it's a good system right now where, if a guy's playing and pay per game and, um, he's got an opportunity to play summer league, and it's just like there's a CEBL wants that partnership and that connection, and they've been
Mhm.
very supportive of players, which is awesome, right? And
Yeah.
they don't lock guys in for the whole summer if you need to seek an opportunity in the summer league, right? And so I think it's a
Yeah.
good model, and I know last year, like I live in Calgary, last year was the first season for the Surge here. Everyone
How
loved
was that?
Yo, I mean, I've seen a lot of games, obviously, like up in Edmonton too, and
Uh,
um, the city really loved it and embraced it. They're um, a really strong like ownership group here,
mhm,
and so they play in a really good venue that just lets you feel like right on top of the action, and they got good people going with the franchise. So, like that's my point, right? Like every franchise and city seems like they've done a really good job to promote it and push it, right? And
yeah,
seems really strong. So it's cool, man. It's about time, right? I mean, some markets need these teams where it's really good for the youth and they can see these players playing at home right in front of them. Whether it's if you got a team in Saskatoon, like that might be the thing going on for them that summer, right? And
yeah,
in the Toronto area, it's a little different because there's more options, but nonetheless, I mean, look at how good Scarborough was last year, and they got a great following and a great situation there, right? So stuff you all know. So yeah, the CBL is 100, man. I think they're doing a really good job, and just from an old hooper like me to just see some guys playing at home and like a situation like yours, you're putting in good minutes with the Santa Cruz Warriors and the G, and then you can come home and and
right.
benefits you, right? So it's a good
And to add to
situation.
that,
Yeah, please.
it's like it's a great opportunity for the youth, really, for them to be more comfortable being able to stay. Like not everybody could go overseas and or go to the States for anything, you know. It's a good
Right.
opportunity where you could stay in Canada and play in front of your family, and for the youth to see people they can look up to, you know.
Absolutely. Well said. Jackson, here on Canada Hoops, man. We love to talk about Canada basketball,
Yeah.
especially with guests who have played for the program, which you have obviously done. For you personally, man, in your career so far, where does playing for the senior men's national team and representing the red and white rank for you?
Where does it rank? You got to
Yeah,
be number one.
nice.
Playing in front of being able to represent your country. That's just number one, man. And the guys, like I said, like you get to be around your guys that you never get, like you don't get to see them often because they're overseas hooping or they're somewhere hooping. So be able to win with your teammates that you've been growing up with or that you've known for a long time. It's number one for me.
What I like to ask a guest, like obviously there's a lot of pride with the name on the front with Canada, but a lot goes into getting you to that spot,
Mhm.
sacrifice from your friends and family and loved ones, and like what's that conversation like for you and your family when it comes to the name on the back, and just what that's about for you as a family, and what that means, man.
Yeah, it's like when you pass on this earth, you want to be able to have something you could leave behind, some type of legacy. And it's if you can start it and then the next person continues it. Like I got a little nephew who plays basketball and I hope to see him in a Canada jersey one day.
For sure.
Um but just to be able to have your last name in the history books, in Team Canada men's basketball, it's a big accomplishment, to be honest. It might not seem like much, but a lot of people would kill for that.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know, like, from someone that's followed the program for a long time now, it's just really cool to see so many people commit and sacrifice and
Uh,
make the effort, to really lift the program. And I think about, like, on the men's side, the amount of guys that played in the World Cup qualifiers to get the program to that situation to qualify, and then for the
mhm.
guys to have the success last summer,
Yeah.
and then it's almost like it carried over right away. So like in February with the FIBA America Cup qualifiers, and you make an effort to go play the two games in that window, and other guys came from overseas.
Yeah.
I thought you were outstanding, ran probably our best player. Um, that just speaks to that love for the red and white and just that commitment and sacrifice. And it, we could have maybe had like a lull moment after the World Cup, but we haven't, man. Like
Mhm.
everyone's picking right up again, and it's like I'm sure when Rowan and his group makes a call like, "Hey, we want you here," and it's as much as anybody can, it's a no brainer. They're gonna do what it takes, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And shout out the men's team for beating Team USA because I've been talking a lot of smack, in the
Hell
G
yeah.
League to all those Americans. So hopefully we
Yeah.
could bring him home this summer at the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, man, there's been lots of roster debate and camp debate for a lot of the Canada basketball nerds out there, I guess. So it's going to be an
Yeah.
interesting time this summer, and we'll see what that group looks like. I wanted to ask you, like, who's a player that you haven't played with yet for Canada basketball that you'd love to be on the court with? Is there someone that you watch that makes you say, "Damn, like I'd love to run with that guy"? Anybody come to mind?
Yeah, Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
That's an easy one for me. Like I've been watching Jamal for a long time since he was at Kentucky, and
Right.
even before that, when he was hitting game winners for Team Canada. I don't know if you remember that, but he's just been like just to watch him play. He always makes the right reads as a point guard, and to watch him play with Jokic in
Right.
the playoffs last year and this year, is yeah, that guy he's special.
Yeah, he had a monster game last night and kind of maybe put them on his back a little bit, and
Yeah,
the one play taking LeBron to the hole there, and kind of
yeah,
took LeBron back to Kitchener maybe in a bit, so that was I think everyone was loving that. Who are you close with, man, when you play with Canada, like, and you're getting run in with the senior men's team? Like, who's become a good friend, and who have you grown close with? And maybe not even a guy that you knew that well until you started playing with Canada basketball.
yeah. I think Khalif is definitely one of those guys. Me and
Cool,
Khalif we played together in Germany. Cadre Gray, another one of those guys.
nice,
Um, Keza, he's one of the point guards. Really really good dude. He's funny. Jermaine Haley, real
yeah,
funny dude. We had some good times on the road for sure.
nice,
Phil Scrub, we were able to develop or talk a little bit during those. And that's the great thing is like even when you don't know some guys, you get to meet them, and then they just become lifelong, friendships. So, but yeah, those Lloyd Pandy, another really good dude. Trey Bell Haynes, they really just like they do a good job of bringing people in who know how to play the right way and who have good personalities. And it's so
right.
easy to just click with those type of dudes, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned like shoot, I mean, Keza, man, Keza joined us early. I loved chatting with him and hearing his story,
Mhm.
and Khalif obviously has come on, and Trey and Phil. So you're mentioning a lot of guys that have done a lot for the program and deserve a lot of love. And
Aaron
you know,
Best, another one.
yeah, yeah, super great, man. Like
Yeah,
a lot of guys that, like I was talking about, they commit, sacrifice, answer the call. Just super great to see, right? And I
yeah.
know the community loves a lot of those guys. All right, Jackson, do you have a top five or favorite five of all time for Canada basketball?
For Canada basketball, I got you a top five for my favorite Canadian players. Can I do
Yeah,
that?
whatever, man. It's your five, man. You do what
Okay.
you got to do.
Number one, my mentor, Phil Dixon.
Nice.
Shout out Phil.
Yeah,
That's my guy. We talked about him a little bit, but Phil really helped me turn my eyes to the game and fall in love with the game. So shout out Phil and Coach Mater. Um, Rick Fox,
nice.
another one. The ideal role player embodied being, a super high level player for a championship team, which is, as best as it gets. Steve Nash, easy one, two-time
Yeah,
MVP. And I think he did win an MVP in the AmeriCup too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. Yeah,
He won a few of those. Jamal Murray, mentioned him earlier, really something special. And the guy I watched growing up, really helped me have faith that maybe I could be an NBA player one day. Jamaal Magloire, who
nice.
doesn't get his respect like you said, but shout out Jamaal Magloire.
Man, that's a great five, man. A lot of history there. Some true icons, right? And man, I love the Rick Fox thing, man, because he just, he was such a key piece for some really good teams, man. And I know he He repped Canada like in the '94 World Championships, and kind of like our big time player at that time. And young Steve
Mhm.
Nash was with him. But yeah, that's a great fight, man. We love it. Man, who do you think should join us on the podcast? Who's got a good Canada basketball story to share with everyone?
Cadre, if you haven't interviewed Cadre already, call
All
him.
right.
Or matter of fact, I'll call him and I'll tell him that he's gonna be on this podcast whenever you
All right,
say.
man. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. No, he's put a lot of time in, man, to get his game at a high level. Respect to that, and
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I like what he's done. Any shout outs or thank yous before I get you out of here, man? It's been a fun conversation, and we appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, shout out Canada Hoops Podcast. Thank you, Matty, for having me on here. It's a pleasure. Thank you for letting me share my story, and hopefully we get to meet in the future.
Yeah, no, for sure. Appreciate that, and want to wish you all the best, man. And I'm sure we'll link up sometime.
For sure.
All right, that does it for another episode of Canada Hoops. I want to thank Jackson Rowe for pulling up. Thank you for listening. Remember to rate and review us wherever you get your podcast. Keep supporting Canada basketball, and we will see you on the next episode.